When we hear the word patience, many of us think of silence, of doing nothing, of being passive in the face of difficulty. But patience is not weakness. In fact, it is one of the strongest qualities a believer can carry within their heart. Think about it. It takes no strength to complain, to get angry, to lose hope when life doesn't go our way. That's easy. But it takes immense inner strength to hold back your frustration, to trust Allah's plan, and to move forward with dignity even when your heart is breaking. Patience is the shield of the strong. It is the hidden strength that keeps you standing when life tries to knock you down. It's not about pretending the pain doesn't exist, but about saying, "This pain will not control me. I will not let it make me bitter. I will wait for Allah's timing." Patience is strength because it is built on faith. It says, "Even if I don't understand this now, I believe Allah knows best." It's strength because it refuses to be controlled by temporary emotions. It's strength because it gives you the ability to keep moving when others would have given up long ago. Think of a tree during a storm. The weak branches snap and break, but the strong ones bend, sway, and hold firm until the storm passes. That is patience. It doesn't mean you don't feel the storm. It means you bend, but you don't break. Patience is not sitting with folded hands. It is taking action while trusting Allah with the results. It is working hard without rushing the outcome. It is being grateful even when life feels unfair. It is choosing peace over panic, trust over despair, and here is the beauty. Patience is rewarded not just in the hereafter, but also in this life. It gives you calm when others are restless. It gives you strength when others are weak. It gives you hope when others are drowning in despair. So the next time someone thinks patience is weakness, remind yourself, it is harder to remain patient than it is to give up. It is harder to trust Allah than it is to complain. That's why patience is hidden strength. It is a badge of honor worn by those who know their Lord, who know His wisdom, and who refuse to give up no matter what life throws at them. When people talk about patience, the first image that often comes to mind is someone sitting quietly, saying nothing, doing nothing, just enduring whatever happens to them. Many people confuse patience with silence. They think that patience is weakness, that it means you are powerless to act, or that you are simply too afraid to speak up. But true patience is not silence, it is not weakness. Patience is strength because it requires courage, control, and deep trust in Allah. Think about how easy it is to lose your temper when life frustrates you. It doesn't take strength to complain. It doesn't take effort to shout, argue, or throw away your hope. Anyone can do that. But it takes incredible inner strength to hold your tongue when anger rises. It takes power to say, "I will not let this moment control me. I will not react in a way that I'll regret. I will leave this matter to Allah." That is patience. Patience is not about being silent in the face of injustice. It is about responding with wisdom instead of impulse. It is about choosing the right time, the right words, and the right actions. A patient person doesn't ignore the problem. They face it with calmness, clarity, and faith. That is much harder than reacting with rage or despair. Imagine a person standing at the edge of a storm. The winds are strong, the rain is pouring, and the noise is overwhelming. Most people would panic. But the one with patience steadies themselves. They may be trembling inside, but they stand firm because they know the storm will pass, and they know Allah is watching over them. That steady heart, that calm trust, is not weakness. It is hidden strength. Patience also requires strength because it means controlling your own desires. When you want something badly and it doesn't come, impatience tells you to give up or to take shortcuts that may harm you. Patience whispers, "Wait, trust, keep working. Allah's plan is wiser than yours." And to listen to that voice, to stop yourself from rushing into harm, takes self-control that only the strong can carry. Look at life itself. Every achievement requires patience. A student cannot succeed without patience to study day after day. A farmer cannot harvest crops without patience to water, nurture, and wait for months. Even our du'as require patience because Allah tests us through the waiting. If patience were weakness, it wouldn't be the foundation of every success, but because it is strength, it becomes the very key to growth. Another reason patience is strength is because it allows you to rise above negativity. When people insult you, provoke you, or try to break you, the weak reaction is to fall into their level and respond with anger. The strong reaction, the patient one, is to rise above, to smile, to let go, and to leave justice to Allah. That is not silence, that is self-respect. That is strength of character. The Prophet described patience as a light. Why? Because it brightens the darkest path. It guides you when everything around you seems unclear. A weak heart would be consumed by darkness, by hopelessness, but a strong, patient heart continues to walk with faith, trusting that Allah will open a way. So don't ever think patience is about sitting quietly, doing nothing. Patience is an active force. It is strength under control. It is discipline in action. It is the courage to keep moving forward without letting your emotions drag you backward. When you practice patience, you are not weak. You are strong enough to fight your own impulses. You are strong enough to wait when waiting feels unbearable. You are strong enough to trust when nothing makes sense. And that kind of strength, the hidden strength of patience, is what makes a believer unshakable in this world. Patience is the shield of the strong when life strikes us with pain, disappointment, or hardship. Our first instinct is often to react, sometimes with anger, sometimes with sadness, sometimes with despair. But there is one quality that protects the heart from being shattered in these storms: patience. That's why patience is not a weakness but a shield, and it is the shield of the strong. Think about what a shield does for a soldier in battle. It doesn't remove the danger. The arrows still come, the blows still strike, the enemy is still real, but the shield absorbs the impact, allowing the soldier to keep standing, to keep fighting, to survive until victory. In the same way, patience doesn't mean life will suddenly become easy. The trials will still come, the tears will still fall, and the wounds will still hurt. But patience protects the heart. It shields the soul from breaking apart under pressure. Patience is not the absence of pain, it is the strength to carry that pain without letting it destroy you. Many people think that when you are patient, you are simply ignoring your feelings or pretending everything is fine. That's not true. Patience is acknowledging the hurt but refusing to let it control you. It is saying, yes, this is hard, yes, I am struggling, but I will not let this hardship push me into hopelessness. I will not let it take away my trust in Allah. That is the shield at work. Without patience, every hardship would wound us deeply. One disappointment could make us bitter. One betrayal could make us hateful. One failure could make us give up entirely. But with patience, those same trials may hurt us, but they do not define us. We remain standing because the shield of patience softens the blows of life. Think of the people you admire most, the ones who inspire you. Are they the ones who had an easy life with no struggles? Or are they the ones who endured difficulties with dignity, who faced pain with grace, who carried wounds but did not allow them to break their spirit? That's the strength of patience. Their shield may be invisible, but it is powerful enough to guard them through storms that would crush others. Patience also shields you from your own emotions. Anger, fear, sadness, and frustration. These are natural feelings, but if you let them take over, they can lead you to harmful words and actions. How many relationships are destroyed because someone spoke in anger instead of holding back for a moment? How many dreams are abandoned because someone lost hope too soon? Patience is the shield that holds those emotions in check, giving you space to breathe, reflect, and choose wisely before you act. It also shields your faith. In moments of hardship, Satan whispers doubts. Why is Allah not helping you? Why is He delaying your prayers? Why are you still suffering? Without patience, a person may fall into despair, even questioning the mercy of Allah. But patience protects your iman. It reminds you, this test is temporary. Allah sees me. Allah hears me. Allah's plan is greater than mine. That conviction keeps the heart firm and unshaken, no matter how heavy the trial. And here is a hidden beauty. Patience does not only shield you from pain, it also shields you from yourself, from your own impulsive mistakes. How often do we regret words we spoke too quickly, decisions we rushed into, or actions we made out of frustration? Patience slows us down. It places a shield between us and regret. It says, wait, think, trust Allah, do not act in haste. That simple pause can save us from so many wounds we would inflict on ourselves. Strong people are not those who fight the loudest or react the fastest. True strength is the quiet resilience that keeps standing when others collapse. It is the shield of patience that allows you to keep your dignity, your faith, and your hope even when life is at its hardest. So remember, every hardship is a battlefield. The challenges will come like arrows, like blows you cannot predict. But if you carry patience, you carry the shield of the strong. And with that shield, no hardship, not grief, not failure, not disappointment, can ever truly defeat you. Patience means bending, not breaking. Life has a way of testing us in ways we never imagined. The unexpected losses, the sudden betrayals, the dreams that take longer to come true than we hoped. All of these moments shake us deeply. Sometimes it feels as though the weight of these trials will break us completely. But patience teaches us something powerful. You may bend under the pressure, but you do not have to break. Think about a tree in the middle of a storm. The winds roar, the rain lashes against it, and the branches sway wildly. At first glance, you might think the tree will fall, but look closer. The branches bend, yes, but they do not snap. The trunk leans, but it does not break. When the storm passes, the tree still stands tall, perhaps even stronger because its roots have grown deeper to hold it steady. That is what patience looks like in our lives. Patience doesn't mean you won't feel shaken by hardships. You will. You may cry at night when no one sees. You may feel exhausted, heavy, even overwhelmed. That is the bending. You're human and you're allowed to feel. But patience means that despite the weight, you refuse to let your spirit snap. You hold on to faith even if it's by a single thread. You say to yourself, I may be tired, but I will not give up. I may be hurting, but I will not lose trust in Allah. That determination is what keeps you from breaking. Many people confuse strength with hardness. They think to be strong is to never bend, never show emotion, never admit pain. But hardness is fragile. A piece of glass may look strong, but one blow shatters it. On the other hand, a piece of bamboo bends with the wind, but it never breaks. That flexibility, that ability to bend, is what makes it resilient, and patience is the same. It allows you to bend under pressure, to feel the storm, but it keeps you from breaking. When you are patient, you accept that life has ups and downs. You don't deny the difficulty, but you embrace it as part of your journey. You bend with the winds of hardship, but you anchor yourself in faith. That anchor, your trust in Allah, is what ensures that when the storm is over, you are still standing. Look at the stories of the prophets. They bent under the weight of rejection, pain, exile, and loss. Prophet Job endured years of illness and loss, yet he did not break. Prophet Jacob cried for years over the loss of his son, yet he did not break. Prophet Muhammad faced insults, battles, and betrayals, yet he did not break. They bent with human emotion. They felt grief, sorrow, and fear, but patience kept their faith unshaken, and that's the lesson for us. Patience doesn't mean you don't cry. It doesn't mean you don't feel the pain. It means you don't let the pain destroy your spirit. It means you bend, but you don't break. This is important because many people believe patience is about hiding emotions. But in truth, patience gives you the space to express your emotions in a healthy way. You can bend by crying in sujud, by admitting your weakness to Allah, by asking Him for strength. That bending brings relief because you are not bottling everything inside, but the breaking, losing faith, giving up hope, drowning in despair, that is what patience protects you from. Patience also teaches humility. When you bend, you acknowledge that you are not in control, that Allah is the one who manages everything. You let go of the illusion that you can control every outcome. And in that surrender, you find peace. So when life feels like it's pulling you in every direction, remember, patience doesn't ask you to be unshakable like a rock. It asks you to be flexible like a tree. Bend when the storm comes, but keep your roots deep in faith. Because when the storm passes, and it always does, you will rise again, still standing, stronger than before. Patience is active, not passive. When people hear the word patience, they often imagine sitting still, doing nothing, waiting quietly for things to change on their own. They think patience is simply folding your hands and letting life pass you by. But this is a misunderstanding. True patience is not about passivity. It is not about sitting idle. Patience is an active force. It is about striving, working, and persevering while trusting Allah with the results. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in the soil. He waters them, nurtures them, and protects them from pests. But no matter how much he wishes, the seeds won't grow overnight. He must wait, but while he waits, he keeps working, watering, pulling weeds, caring for the soil. That waiting is not passive. It is filled with effort, care, and trust in Allah's timing. In the same way, patience in our lives means continuing to do the right things, continuing to move forward, even when the results seem delayed. Patience is waking up every morning to pray, even when your heart feels heavy. It is studying day after day, even when success seems far away. It is making dua again and again, even when you don't see the answer yet. Patience doesn't mean you sit back and hope for miracles without effort. It means you keep walking on the path, knowing that Allah will open the doors at the right time. Passive patience leads to stagnation. It makes you believe that waiting means doing nothing. But active patience is what builds character and resilience. It's the kind of patience the prophets practiced. Prophet Noah didn't just sit silently for hundreds of years. He actively preached, built the ark, and worked tirelessly for his mission, even when people mocked him. Prophet Moses didn't just wait quietly when his people were trapped. He acted with trust, leading them to the sea, and Allah opened the way. Active patience combines effort with faith. It's important to remember that patience is not laziness dressed up as faith. Sometimes people say, "I'm being patient," but in reality, they've given up. They stop trying, stop working, and leave everything behind, thinking that's what it means to trust Allah. But real patience means continuing to try, even when it's hard, even when progress is slow, even when people around you doubt you. It means you keep putting in effort, knowing that your role is action, and the outcome belongs to Allah. Patience is also about controlling how you act while you wait. You can wait for something with frustration, anger, and bitterness, or you can wait with gratitude, hope, and dignity. Active patience chooses the second path. It asks, "What can I do right now while I wait for Allah's answer?" And then it pushes you to do it. Whether it's improving yourself, working harder, or helping others, active patience makes waiting meaningful. Think about dua. When you ask Allah for something, patience doesn't mean you stop living your life until it happens. Patience means you keep making dua, but you also keep moving. If you're asking for success, you keep studying, working, learning, and striving. If you're asking for healing, you keep seeking treatment, taking care of yourself, and staying hopeful. You don't just sit still. You stay engaged in the process, trusting Allah to bless your effort. Active patience also protects your heart. Waiting without effort leads to frustration and hopelessness, but waiting with action gives you strength because you know you are doing your part. And when the result finally comes, the sweetness is doubled. You taste not only the joy of Allah's blessing, but also the satisfaction of your own perseverance. So remember this, patience is not passive silence. It is not sitting back and letting life control you. It is waking up every day and saying, "I will keep going. I will keep trusting, I will keep working, and I will leave the rest to Allah." That is real patience, active, alive, and filled with strength. Patience brings inner peace. One of the greatest gifts patience brings is not just strength or resilience, it is peace. In a world full of noise, speed, and endless worries, peace of mind is one of the most valuable treasures a person can have. And patience is the doorway to that peace. When something goes wrong in life, our natural reaction is to panic. The heart races, the mind fills with what-ifs, and we feel overwhelmed, but panic never solves the problem. It only adds weight to the burden. Patience, on the other hand, calms the storm inside. It tells your heart, slow down, trust Allah, things will unfold as they are meant to. This simple shift transforms chaos into clarity. Patience is like a soothing balm for the restless soul. It allows you to breathe when everyone else is suffocating from stress. Imagine standing in heavy traffic. The impatient driver honks, shouts, and becomes angry, but does that change the traffic? No. It only makes his heart restless, but the patient driver sits back, knowing he cannot control the situation, so he chooses calm. His heart is lighter because he lets go of what he cannot change. That is the peace patience offers. Life will always test us with delays, disappointments, and difficulties. Without patience, these trials consume us. Every unanswered dua becomes a reason for frustration. Every setback becomes a source of despair. But with patience, the same trials turn into moments of growth. You begin to see them as opportunities to draw closer to Allah. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you say, "Allah knows best. This is part of my journey." That acceptance softens the heart and brings peace that no one can steal. Patience also brings peace in relationships. How many arguments, fights, and broken ties are born out of impatience? One harsh word, one angry reaction, one moment of frustration can damage bonds that took years to build. Patience, however, acts like a shield. It allows you to pause before speaking, to forgive instead of holding grudges, to give others the benefit of the doubt. This doesn't mean you allow injustice or tolerate harm, it means you respond with wisdom instead of impulse. That response preserves harmony, and where there is harmony, there is peace. Another beautiful aspect of patience is the way it connects you with Allah. When you practice patience, you remind yourself that you are not in control, Allah is. You release the need to control every detail, and you place your trust in His plan. That trust removes so much of the anxiety that eats at our hearts, because once you know Allah is in charge, you can rest. You don't have to carry the weight of the world alone. That trust brings peace like nothing else can. Even science supports this truth. Studies show that impatient people are more likely to experience stress, anger, and even health problems. Patience, on the other hand, lowers stress and increases well-being. But as believers, we already know that patience is not only healthy for the body, it is healing for the soul. Patience also makes gratitude easier. When you are patient, you learn to focus on what you have instead of obsessing over what you lack. You start appreciating the small blessings, and gratitude itself is a source of peace. A heart that is grateful and patient cannot be restless because it is content with Allah's decree. Of course, patience does not mean you will never feel sadness or worry. Even the prophets felt grief, sorrow, and pain, but their patience allowed them to carry those feelings with dignity and faith. They cried, but they trusted. They hurt, but they hoped. And in that balance, they found peace. So the next time life tests you, remember, peace does not come from controlling everything around you. It comes from controlling yourself, your reactions, your emotions, your trust in Allah. That is what patience gives you. And with that patience, you can walk through storms with a calm heart, knowing that no matter what happens, Allah is with you. Patience is a hidden badge of honor. When we think of honor, we often imagine medals, trophies, or public recognition. Something visible that others can admire, but in the eyes of Allah, some of the greatest honors are not displayed on a shelf or worn on the chest. They are carried quietly in the heart. Patience is one of those hidden honors. It is a badge that only the strong wear, and while the world may not always see it, Allah surely does. Patience is a badge of honor because it reflects inner strength. Anybody can celebrate when life is easy, when prayers are answered instantly, when everything flows smoothly. But the true test of character comes when life feels heavy, when nothing seems to go your way, when your duas are delayed. To remain steadfast in those moments, to continue trusting Allah, is not ordinary. It is extraordinary. It is a mark of distinction that separates the strong from the weak. Think of the people you respect most. Many of them aren't those who had the smoothest lives, but those who faced hardships with dignity. Their patience gave them a kind of quiet nobility. Even without words, their calmness in difficulty speaks louder than 1,000 speeches. That's the hidden badge of honor at work. It shines without needing to be shown. The beauty of patience is that it is often invisible to the world, but deeply valuable to Allah. No one may see the nights you cried in sujud. No one may know the battles you fought in your heart just to keep believing, to keep hoping, to keep going. But Allah sees it all, and in His sight, every moment of patience is recorded as an act of strength, as a mark of honor that raises your status in this world and the next. Patience also earns respect, even among people. A patient person is not easily shaken, not quick to anger, not desperate for control. They move with calmness and dignity, and people sense their strength. This quiet resilience is what makes them trustworthy, admirable, and inspiring. Others may not call it a badge, but deep inside they recognize the strength it takes to hold steady when everyone else is falling apart. It's important to remember that patience is not weakness or surrender. It is strength that is disciplined, contained, and rooted in faith. Anyone can lash out in anger or collapse in despair, but to wear the badge of patience means you've mastered yourself. You've chosen to rise above immediate emotions and trust in a bigger picture. That is honor. That is strength. And here's something powerful. Allah promises immense rewards for the patient. The Qur'an reminds us that Allah is with the patient, that He loves them, and that their reward is without measure. Imagine that while most deeds have a defined reward, patience is rewarded without limit. Why? Because patience is not just a single action. It is a continuous state of the heart. It's not one moment of strength. It's a lifestyle of resilience. That is why patience is not just a virtue. It is a crown of honor that Allah places on His beloved servants. Patience also honors you in ways you may not realize. It protects your dignity in difficult times. Instead of acting out of desperation or anger, patience allows you to respond with grace. Even in suffering, you maintain respect for yourself, for others, and for Allah's plan. That quiet strength becomes a kind of nobility, a mark of someone who knows their worth and their Lord. So the next time you face hardship, remember this: every moment you choose patience, you are wearing a hidden badge of honor. It may not sparkle like gold, but it glows with faith. The world may overlook it, but Allah treasures it. And on the day of judgment, when all hidden struggles are revealed, that badge will shine brighter than any medal this world could ever give.